Before you sell your home in the Tri-Cities, there are a few things you should do that can make the process feel simple and organized instead of completely overwhelming. But most people don't realize this until they're thick in the middle of it. Here's what usually happens. You decide it's time to move, and then everything feels like it needs to happen all at once. Cleaning, decluttering, organizing, planning the actual steps of the move itself. If you're in the middle of that and thinking, where do we even start? This video will help you organize those thoughts into a clear plan of action. So let's simplify things. If you're getting ready to relocate away from the Tri-Cities, here are the first 5 steps you need to take before you list your house. The first thing to do is getting your timeline figured out. I don't mean a perfect plan, just a simple idea of when are we thinking about moving? Is this something that needs to happen in the next 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, a year or two? This will help you know where to start the process. Your timeline will change everything. How much prep work do we need to start now? How quickly do we need things to happen? And how much can we coordinate on our own versus what we really need help with sooner than later? And most importantly, knowing your timeline will help things not feel rushed. The second thing to do that most people get wrong is don't start repairs yet. A lot of homeowners immediately think we should start repairing things and do it now. Here's the problem with that. If you start doing things before you talk to an expert, you might do the wrong things, and that's not something you want to have happen. You can very easily spend time and money on things that don't even matter to buyers, or worse, fix the wrong things the wrong way. Before doing anything, you want to know what actually needs attention, what do buyers actually care about, and what can we skip? This step alone can save you tons of unnecessary time, stress, and money. The third thing is something most people don't think about soon enough. How involved do you actually want to be with the sale of your home? Now, I don't mean, do you want to go FSBO, for sale by owner, or do you want to hire an agent? What I mean is, how involved in the actual managing of the process do you want to be? Do you want to have to manage contractors for repairs, coordinate those repairs, manage the details yourself? Or would you rather have someone coordinate all of that for you? There's no wrong answer here. It's what's best for you and how you feel about it. If you've recently retired or been retired for a little while, you're not working every day and you probably don't want to. That is, after all, why you're retired. You have other plans, other things you want to focus on, traveling, spending time with your grandkids, enjoying retirement to the fullest, not having to manage full-time a home sale. Keeping that in mind, be thinking ahead, how much of this home sale do we actually want to manage ourselves? And how much would we rather delegate to a professional to handle for us? The fourth step is to start decluttering. But I don't mean a major overhaul of your house immediately. Just start lightly decluttering. Look around your house, see what things you're not really using or haven't used in a while. If you have a closet that every time you open the door, things are just falling out of it, that might be a good one to start with. Why do I suggest to lightly begin the decluttering? Because if you try to take on a huge decluttering and organizing project, it can immediately feel overwhelming. If your timeline allows, just do a little bit at a time to start with to help the process not get too overwhelming too quickly. If your timeline doesn't allow, that's a different story. But if you have some time, just start with those closets that are overflowing, those items you haven't used in a long time, or those things you know you won't be using anytime soon that you can start packing up to slowly get the process rolling. Now, the fifth and final step to think about is simply understanding, how does this whole relocation sales process work? When you're moving away, you're moving out of the area, maybe completely out of state, several hundred or several thousand miles away. This process is a lot different than if you're just moving across town. And you want to know how exactly that works and how does this relocation sales process differ from selling your house to just move to a different neighborhood here locally in the Tri-Cities. A lot of people assume they need to be here locally the whole time during the sales process. They'd have to manage everything themselves, the contractors, the repairs, some of those things we've already talked about, that it will fall on their shoulders to manage the whole sales process, or that it's going to be tons of hands-on work and it's going to be hard. Again, you've already retired, you're soon to retire. You don't want to have all this stress and a daily workload when you've relieved yourself of daily workload by retiring. Let's not make this home sale become a whole new job for you to have to take on. There are ways to structure the sale so it's actually pretty hands off for you and a lot more manageable. You just need to know what your options are. By the way, I'm Hillary Templin, a relocation specialist real estate broker, and I help people here in the Tri Cities sell their home and relocate out of the area without the process taking over their entire lives. Most of the stress people feel at the beginning is from not knowing the steps and not knowing the process. So if you're starting to realize this whole relocation sales process doesn't have to be quite as overwhelming as you might have first thought, you're right. You just need to know the steps in the process and be able to put a plan of action in place that will help you walk through it from start to finish without feeling the overwhelm. Once you have that plan, everything gets easier. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through the biggest question most people have at this stage, which is, should I stay here in the Tri-Cities while I sell my home, or can I sell it after I've already moved away? Again, there's no real right answer to that. It depends on you and your needs, but getting that decision made the right way for you will make the whole process easier. So go ahead and watch that video next. It will help you start putting all those pieces in place to make the right decision for you. I'll see you there.